considered as one of the most democratic places. We had growth of these electoral laws, beginning with the founder fathers of that democracy policy in America, Thomas Jefferson, together with George Washington Madison. And now the electoral process in America is completely changed from what it was. It went through all those processes, including the great debates of Lincoln versus Douglas, a one-on-one debates that have grown up to date to be what we use as the presidential debates that we have today, borrowed long time from the Douglas-Lincoln debates in America. And therefore, these are processes that grow. And therefore, each time we are having a chance to amend the laws on election, we should count ourselves as being privileged and do the very best to make sure that the next election is better than the previous one. And we are able to stamp out any gaps that were experienced in the previous one. Many examples were given by the Deputy Speaker who spoke after me, but I would only pick one in the Kenyan situation. When we had the challenge of elections during the Moi process in 1992 thereabout, we had to bring in the IPPG, which was a change in election laws so that inclusivity and ownership of the process could be undertaken by all those who were participating in that particular election. And that in itself was growth. But I don't know if this House remembers about the Mlolongo elections which were carried out in 1988, and how it was flawed and how the queues were made and how after one having a very long queue would not end up being announced to be the winner of the election because of what was going on. And therefore, continuous change of these laws is paramount and must continuously take place so that we get a better election process. Honorable Speaker, let me now speak on only 3 of the issues in this bill, beginning with the fact that this bill brings to bear the recommendations by the NADCO report. NADCO report and NADCO itself as a process, Honorable Speaker, where I personally appeared to represent the Kwanzaa coalition, was a very important process because it's the one that brought calmness in this country. And everybody believed that with the NADCO process, then all players are on table and they have agreed, and that's why we have calmness in the country. And we must remember vividly as a parliament that then the mandamanos that were going on came to a cease. So therefore, the views that were given by the public and other stakeholders during the NADCO report cannot be left out of this process. And the best thing to do is to assemble them in form of a bill so that they are accommodated in the laws of this country. And therefore, as we do these changes, I want to hail the bill for accommodating the NADCO report and the proposals by the people, because we are representatives of the people, and therefore everything we do, it is born out of the supremacy of the people in Article 1 of the Constitution, because they are the ones who hail the power. Number 2, Honorable Speaker, is to hail this bill for bringing to bear a process that will put in place the IBC commissioners fast enough. But away from that, it's also to hail it for making sure that the crisis we were almost facing, which is that we are going to have a constitutional crisis whereby we are supposed to delimit boundaries within a period of 8 to 12 years, and now we cannot do that because we don't have the commissioners, is going to be solved. And this will be a reprieve to many people in Kenya, and more so those constituencies that are suffering under the fear that they were possibly protected and therefore they are likely to lose out their place if this process is not undertaken. And that is why I support this bill, and this is a very good process which will then deal with this matter of delimitation of boundaries and constituencies. Honorable Speaker, there's the issue of the chair of the commission. And on the issue of the chair of the commission, this bill has been very particular, and I want to support the committee and the bill in totality, because the drama we saw during the last election is not good drama to ever be repeated in this country. And indeed, it's adopting the High Court ruling in the case of Katiba Institute and 3 others versus the Attorney General and 2 of 2018, etc., etc. That drama we saw where there was a law which was describing the chairman of IEBC to include the vice chairman and include any other commissioner who may appear in the event that the chair is not there was a very dangerous law for any election process. It exposed this country and exposed the election process to a situation whereby we can even hijack the chair and bring the immediate person who can then announce elections and will announce what he wants as being the results of that election. And furthermore, it also showed that even we could remove the vice chair and any other commission could then appear and announce the results. This bill has hailed that ruling and therefore has defined properly the chair as being the chair and not any other person, including the vice chair, can take the place of the chair, nor a commissioner purporting that he can also be a chair, because there must have been a reason why Kenyans chose that one person as the chair of the commission. The trust, the rigorous interviews and aspects of training that were required of this person are not the same as the vice or the assistant, and this will bring to drama what we saw in this country in the last elections as the Cherera and so on and so forth. This is very, very, very good, and that's why I keep on saying that election process must continuously be changed and reviewed so that it is better, with the hope of getting to the infinity of perfection. Honorable Speaker, there's also the issue of additional members of the Electoral Commission. So this bill proposes additional members to the commission by adding 2 more, so that now they are from 7 to 9. In my opinion, this is also very good because it increases the space and leverage of operation of the commission. Also brings to bear more mind and technical people who can assist. It has gone ahead, Honorable Speaker, to indicate even the specific areas that require thorough need, and these has been the areas of ICT and the very areas of accounting, because how often do we hear that electoral materials have not been obtained or procured because of one reason or another. And we saw the gaps that we had in ICT section, which remains one of the most disturbing issues in election processes. Honorable Speaker, as conclude, I want to thank you for giving this space and support the bill, given that my time is done. Thank you.
The other side a bit, Honorable Carolia Mondi.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I seem to have a problem with my card. I was, I think, among the first to step in, and unfortunately, it was not indicating on the dashboard. But thank you for the opportunity, Honorable Speaker. Let me begin by saying I've looked at this draft amendment to the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission Act, and I'm a little underwhelmed. I think there are some serious issues, even though it is an ADCO product.
The honorable members, Honorable Owen Bayer, Honorable... Okay, the lady, my old friend, has already... Please, let's have a bit of a...
Yeah, I think...
Consult in very low tones.
Yeah, I think we should have the spirit that amendments need to be introduced to this particular draft bill. Honorable Speaker, India, which is the largest democracy in the world, is conducting elections at this particular time. 960 million people will vote in India. The Electoral Commission of India was formed in 1950. It has only 3 commissioners. For 39 years, it had 1 commissioner. It was not until 1989 that they added 2 commissioners. Those 3 commissioners are actually appointed by the President of India but on the recommendation of a selection panel of 3 people. One is a prime minister, the other is the leader of opposition, and then there's a neutral representative of parliament. If you look at what we are trying to create here, we are actually compounding our problems. I think after the last election and the problems that we have experienced, there are 4 things that this amendment should have addressed. One is that there should have been timely review and delimitation of new electoral boundaries. It is a shame that we cannot keep constitutional timelines, and we have not had the first major review of and delimitation of electoral boundaries under the 2010 Constitution. I mean, that is such a national shame. Secondly, there should have been timely by-elections. Banisa constituency has not had a member of parliament for now close to a year. It is a national shame. And when you read this particular draft bill, it is not providing solutions to ensuring that we have timely by-elections. Thirdly, we should have had timely reconstitution of the Electoral Commission when members retire. Again, that is not being addressed in this particular bill. And finally, we should have timely selection or constitution of the selection panel. We are not even debating the question whether the selection panel should be a standing committee or an ad hoc committee as is currently proposed, the merits and demerits. So all those serious issues are not properly addressed here. But most fundamentally, this particular draft, even though it's an ADCO product, it is even creating more problems. If you look at the selection panel suggested, it is of 12 members. How 12 members will make a decision by voting or by whatever process is unknown to me. Normally, decision-making is reserved to an even number of members of an organ. So we should have 5, 7, 9, 11. But here we have 12. And if you look at those 12 members of the selection panel being proposed, 8 are from political parties. How is that inclusive? How is that representative? Only 4 are non-political. Yeah? If you read them, you have 2 persons appointed by Parliamentary Service Commission, a political organ. 3 persons nominated by political parties liaison, a political organ. 1 person by political party other than a parliamentary party, another political organ. 1 person from parliamentary party or coalition forming the national government, another political organ. And 1 person not forming from a political party or a coalition not forming a national government. Again, politics. There's no room for competence, there's no room for independent people, experienced people to oversee the process. That said, there are even more problems being created. If you look at the proposed definition of chairperson, where we are saying the chairperson shall be, we are deleting certain phrases there. We are saying the chairperson shall be the person appointed in accordance with Article 252 of the Constitution, full stop. And we are deleting the vice chairperson or a member appointed by the members on a temporary basis to exercise the office of chairperson. There's a very serious problem there. It simply means if there's no chairperson who meets the qualifications of a judge of the Supreme Court, then the commission cannot function. There'll be no chair. And the decision of the Supreme Court was that whoever exercises in temporis the functions and duties of chairperson should have the qualifications of a judge. So we should have redrafted it in a different way and said, and if the chairperson shall retain the qualifications of a Supreme Court judge, so should be the vice chairperson or any other member. In other words, both the vice chair and the chair should at all times have the qualifications of a Supreme Court judge so that the commission is not stranded. And if you go further and you see the current act where the qualifications are provided for the chairperson and vice chairperson, there's even a member who is supposed to have qualification in law. So there was already an avenue. So Mr. Chair, Honorable Speaker, I think I don't want to speak too much to it except to warn the House that we need to seriously reflect on this matter and allow open debate and members to vigorously interrogate whatever the proposals are here so that we don't have a repeat of every election we come to this particular storyline of how we need to change the law, how we need to change the IBC, how we need to do everything. The election in India, the 960 million people are using technology to vote in India. I was among the people in this country who, after witnessing what happened in 2007, when the Right Honorable Raila won the elections and his victory was stolen, because the elections were manual, I insisted with the former president, the late Kibaki, and Ambassador Mudaura, that we are to go digital in our electoral process. That is why we have the EVID, that is why we have all the technology around voter registration, around voter identification. What we still do not have is electronic voting, and it is time we have an open debate on that. It is technology that will give us the integrity we need in our elections, the clear record keeping, and access to information that we need to actually have credible, fair, reliable, and predictable elections. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
The Honorable Member of Parliament for Kura East, followed by the Honorable Wilberforce Oundo.
Mheshimiwa Spika, nichukue nafasi hii kukushukuru sana kwa nafasi hii. Mheshimiwa Spika, matukio ambayo yamekumba nchi hii siku za hivi karibuni yameletea mswada ambao uko mbele ya bunge hili wakati huu. Lakini Mheshimiwa Spika, matukio hayo yamefuatia matukio mengi ambayo yamekuwepo tangia nchi ilivyopata uhuru. Na kila chaguzi ikimalizika, kunakuwa na nafasi ya Wakenya kuweza kupata kuangalia, kuchambua na kuweza kurekebisha, kuzidisha, kuboresha na